YouTube, what is going on? It's your boy Keezy. It ain't easy being Keezy, and in today's video, we're going to talk about more fashion trends for 2020 and potentially for 2021. But I'm making this video again because I made one prior for 2020 fashion predictions, but a lot has changed in like 3 months. It's only March, so I think there's more things to talk about, more things to mention. Let's get it. Okay, so starting off this video, I have to give a disclaimer. And the disclaimer is always the same. My disclaimer is that I am not telling you how to dress. Not telling you how to dress. I'm just telling you what I see as a fashion prediction and or what I see that's being popularized on either Instagram and Facebook and in real life and at events that I go to. Basically just what I see people wearing that could potentially be a trend. But I mean, the word predictions is predictions for a reason. It's a prediction. Okay, there's no other way around that. Okay, for the first trend I'm going to bring up is that this trend has already been going on since like maybe early last year, 2019, and that's flannel jackets. And I'm not saying it in any particular way. It could be in like a blazer format or even something like a jean jacket, but I've just seen a lot of jackets now having a flannel pattern. Pretty much any flannel pattern on a jacket. It seems to be big. It's huge. All fast fashion companies have it. A lot of high-end fashion designer brands have it at this point. I'll flash some photos. Not much more to say about this topic other than that it's kind of here to stay. I like it. I think it's nice to have something like that in your wardrobe. It's kind of like having a Letterman jacket, except a Letterman jacket is more classic and timeless, but a flannels jacket is like the periodic, like, okay, I'm gonna throw this on and make it work. Anyways, next trend. Okay, next trend we have up is not really a trend, but I've noticed that there's a shift and there's a change, and that shift and change is that sneakerheads no longer wanting to be sneakerheads, aka hype beasts, not really wanting to be hype beasts anymore, and arguably that could be a good thing, but the biggest reason why is because sneakers now are just getting unrealistically expensive for no reason. And it's like normalized that sneakers are supposed to be expensive when really they're not supposed to be. Okay, they didn't start off expensive, but now they're crazy expensive. Like, we are very normalized to the fact that sneakers are costing $1,000. $1,000 for Dunks, $1,000 for Air Jordan 1s, Jordan 4s, whatever. Okay, almost anything that has an off-white tag on it that says Virgil in quotes is gonna be like a 600 plus, 700 plus, $1,000 plus. Yes, it's cool, right? It's cool stuff. It's cool. It's like designed very well and it's really dope. But at the same time, it's unrealistically expensive, and it makes a lot of people, aka sneakerheads and hypebeasts, kind of turn the other way, and it's kind of becoming like a rich kid sport. Not to say that it wasn't a rich kid sport to begin with. It didn't deal with millennials, but it's now like a very rich man sport. I've had countless text messages where I converse with someone, I'm like, hey man, I haven't heard from you in a while, where you been? And the person be like, dude, like, I don't even buy shoes anymore. Like, it's stupid. I spent like $3,500 and I own like 3 sneakers. And like, there's no point. They collect dust, they sit in my closet. It's not gonna go that much crazy higher over a $1,300 for a pair of Air Jordan 1 Unions. Like, come on, like, it shouldn't be that way. And the only person to point the finger at is not Nike and Adidas, it's you. Or maybe resellers. Resellers are fucking up the game for everybody, okay? You guys are making things so expensive for people that genuinely like a certain design or take on a shoe. But it ends up being way too expensive, thus turning away people that originally liked it to begin with. So I don't know if that's like a trend, but I've noticed more people kind of giving it a side eye at this point and kind of turning away and having other hobbies and interests. Okay, this next one is kind of more of a prediction more than something that I see people wearing, so I might not have photos for it, but that's cropped jean jackets for guys. I know that kind of like pushes the limits of being feminine, but it is what it is. I've seen more jackets now that are cropped for guys, whether it's puffer jackets, and that's another thing. Also, puffer jackets are kind of making its way back around, but like very, very poofy puffer jackets. But the puffer jackets that I like, and particularly that I think are going to be even bigger, is cropped puffer jackets or even jean jackets that are cropped. And I think where all this kind of evolved from is like the box t-shirt, the boxy tees and the boxy hoodies. Everyone started to kind of have like a higher rise on their t-shirts, so they probably said to themselves, well, why don't we start putting these on hoodies? Why don't we start putting these on other jackets? And it's just progressively getting higher and higher. I predict that it's gonna get pretty high. I think it'll probably be at waist or even like higher than waist, like in between nipple and waist area. That's how high I probably would get. It would look good on guys. It's just not enough brands make it. Hopefully there's going to be a brand out there that I can mention later in another video that does that, so we could talk about it. So anyways, next trend. All right, for the next trend that we got up is not really a trend either, but it's something that's coming full circle and coming back around, maybe because of people like Nigo from Human Made, but that's the Americana look. A lot of dudes are getting back into Americana and or are being reintroduced to Americana. And I think the reason for that is because a lot more clothes started to get a lot more baggy in 2018, 2019, and then the vintage, like the commercialization of vintage clothing as of like 2017, 18, 19, and you know, vintage clothing being so huge, the combination of the two is basically Americana. Like baggy plus vintage equals Americana, kind of. Does that work? That kind of worked in my head. But I mean, there's more, obviously there's a lot more to Americana, but the whole look of Americana, which I will show some photos here, I think it's getting a lot more popular. A lot more guys are starting to wear it. It really is that like vintage Japanese raw denim, you know, look with like a t-shirt that is rolled up on the sleeves, and then maybe like a condom beanie or something like that, and maybe even like a fixie bike. Maybe fixies will come back in. Who knows? I don't know. If there's someone out there that still rides fixies, let it be known in the comments. All right, the next trend that we got up is something that has been brewing in the past maybe year and a half, but I think is going to come a lot more full circle now, and that's genderless clothing. An honorable mention to this push of like genderless clothing is someone like Ambush. Ambush makes a lot of clothes that is definitely genderless. You look at it and you say, well, it could work for a guy, it could also work for a girl. And I think this is also huge, maybe even more in like the women's section. There's a lot more brands that are pushing things that are genderless. And also it's like a cross-breeded thing. I think guys are adopting a lot more feminine looking clothing in fashion, and then vice versa. Girls are adopting, especially in streetwear, are adopting a lot more men's style clothing into their wardrobe too. But you get the idea. Genderless clothing probably will be a lot more prevalent moving into 2021, or maybe just this year, who knows. Okay, so the next trend that we have up that I've seen even some fast fashion companies pushing this whole look is that skeleton look. It's like skulls and skeletons, but primarily the skulls and skeletons being on pants. And maybe that I'm saying this now, it probably doesn't make sense because once you see it at fast fashion companies, it's probably kind of out the door at this point. But arguably there's brands like Soul Disciples, Mastermind, Number 9 that have been using skulls since the beginning of streetwear or the beginning of time. I think primarily there's going to be more brands that are going to start using the skeleton look, or just like the flat out bold skeleton look on pants. I will flash some photos here to kind of like jog some memory. This one's a tough one. I almost didn't put it on the list because it could just be like a fad. There's a big difference between fads and trends, but kind of worth mentioning, kind of not. We'll see what happens by the end of this year. If by the end of this year we don't see a lot of it, it was definitely a fad. So anyways, next trend. Okay, the next trend we got up is it's not really a trend, but it's more so a brand, and that would be New Balance. New Balance, as of 2019, in my eyes anyway, 2019, New Balance has been killing it because end of 2018 going into 2019, people were just so in love with the bulky shoe, dad shoe movement, which is also kind of dying down at the moment. But what better brand to make dad shoes than New Balance? So New Balance kind of stepped in, and a lot of people, whether they're YouTubers, whether they're Instagrammers, even on pages like Hypebeast and Hypebeast, you see a ton of like the New Balance 993, the New Balance 992 that Kith just did a collaboration with. I think the new, I mean, for Christ's sake, I'm wearing the 993 right now, okay? It's the most comfortable shoe I have. There's no question about that. But yeah, anyways, you get the point. In general, it's on the come up. I might get killed in the comments for that one because obviously New Balance has been around forever, but I think in the conversation of maybe hype and also just relevancy as far as people naming brands within sneakers. When people talk about sneaker brands, we usually only talk about two people or two brands. And those two brands is Nike and Adidas. And maybe sometimes Reebok and Puma might slip in there in conversation every once in a while. But I think New Balance is the next one. It's like I talk about Nike, I talk about Adidas. Now I'm talking about New Balances. It is what it is. I'm getting older anyway. I like New Balances. They suit me very well. Okay, the next one we got up. This is another one people might kill me in the comments for, but straight leg denim. I think the beginning of 2019, people were just saying baggy, 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 baggy. And it got to a point where people were wearing pants so baggy that it kind of went back to like the Jinko look, like Jinko jeans, if people are even old enough on my channel to remember those. But yeah, people were talking about baggy pants that much, but I think it's slimmed down a little bit more. People are going back to like the straight leg look. Even for myself, I've been buying a lot of straight leg denim, minus the John Elliott's that I own and some of the other pants that I've tailored to be skinny jeans that I still wear, but I'm leaning away from that now, and I'm going more in like the straight leg look. It's like straight slim, if that's the best words for it. So anyways, you get the point. Next trend. Okay, next one I got up, I have to use my phone because there's too much about it that I don't want to miss. So the next trend we got up is quoted as more interesting accessories. And I don't mean just like fanny packs and stuff. I mean people with like rings and bracelets or necklaces. I think in 2020 there's going to be a lot more people kind of copying what Ambush is doing. Ambush makes a ton of necklaces that have like different links on them, different size links on each side. And there's another necklace out there that got really popular as of last year or 2 years ago that is still pushing into this year. You can find fake ones all over AliExpress. I'll show a picture here of what I'm talking about. But that got super popularized as well. And people just want things that are just kind of like interesting and different, but at the same time could probably be considered like hyped, I guess. So some other bullet points on this same idea I wrote down is that Virgil's LV came out with those pockets on the belts and on the jackets. It's like basically pockets everywhere. I think in my 2018 or my 2019 video I said that pockets are going to get a lot more popular, which they have, but they've been popular in a way where it's like uniqueness. Like how unique can you place the pocket on your pants, jacket, belt, accessory, bag, whatever. It's just been pockets galore, basically. So diving more into accessories and chains, I wrote down oval link chains. Now, oval link chains, I will show a picture of what they look like here. I think traditionally people were so much more used to like Cuban necklaces and rope, like donkey rope chains, but now it's moved into the oval link, which I have an oval link chain that I use all the time and I love it. I actually hope that this is not a fad or a trend. I hope that this is something that's timeless and you can still wear. I mean, I'm saying that because I spent a pretty penny on an Ambush chain that I wear a lot, and I just don't want it to be something that's like out, you know, next year or whatever. So I hope that it still goes on to like 2050 if possible. Anyways, enough about that one. Let's move on to the next trend. Okay, next one we got up is tech wear, and tech wear has been huge. I'm not saying it's going to be huge this year. It's already been huge, but I think the integration of tech wear into high fashion is now going to change because now there's brands basically introducing it into high fashion. Virgil, of course, is a person that is spearheading this like tech wear into high fashion, but I think it was inevitable for tech wear to become high fashion because like tech wear prices is high fashion prices. Like tech wear is really expensive. The authentic tech wear is unrealistically expensive. No different than high fashion. High fashion is unrealistically expensive. I posted on Twitter the other day that $1,000 is the new $100. People are spending $1,000 on sneakers like it's $100 or $200 sneakers. Like it's ridiculous, right? Anyways, I digress, but you get the point. Tech wear into high fashion, it's a thing. It's going to be more of a thing. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more brands that are going to do it. It's something unique too, because not only would you wear a shirt or a jacket or some pants, it can have other elements to it that can help with your day-to-day life. You get the point. Next trend. Okay, next one we got up. I didn't follow this one that much, and what I'm titling it is mixed plaid jackets, and this also goes for mixed plaid denim. I'll try my best to show some like good examples here, but the more I go to places like Barney's, the more I go to like either the high-end designer like streetwear like stores, I see a lot more pieces that is mixed plaid. It could be like 4 or 5 different plaids into one shirt. Almost every brand, high or low scaled brands in price, have attempted this look of like mixing different plaids into one. Polo is probably a good pioneer in someone that has been doing this for many years, but I've been seeing it a lot more in like either Japanese brands and also American streetwear brands. But again, this was one that was kind of hard to mention, so if you know of another brand that's been doing this, and also if you agree or disagree with me, let it be known in the comments. Move on to the next trend. All right, next one we got up is the half-half. I call it the half-half clothing. There's like no words for it. It's like 50-50. Someone that's been doing it a lot is Balenciaga. We've seen the triple S's split in half. They've done like the half jeans. It was like a black stonewashed jean leg, and then the other one was like a dad wash jean part of the leg. Am I even saying that correctly? But they've been spearheading that a lot. And there's been many other brands that have been doing like half camo. So there would be like a desert camo on one side, regular green camo on the other. And even other things too, like sneakers. We've had the LA to Chicago's. That's kind of like a half and half. It's like on the outside, it's an LA shoe, but then once you wipe it all down, it's a Chicago. And even Off-White's new runway had like this half jacket, half dress. I'm sure he might not be the first person to ever do that, but anyways, it's worth mentioning. It was a half-half as well. Even the Raf Simons Adidas shoe, that's pretty much a half and half shoe. It's like half silver on the bottom, half whatever color that's on top. Now the thing about this trend, do I think that it's really big right now? Not really. It's not like in our face. Potentially it could be in our face in the next couple months to a year, I don't know. Or maybe it could be something that every brand just kind of has like that one piece. They do a half and half, call it a day. I don't know. We'll have to see by the end of the year if that's gonna be something big. So next trend. All right, next one we got up. I may or may not be wrong on this one, but this is, I'm just kind of calling it how I see it, is that the normalization of SB Dunks and like SB Dunks being quote unquote cool again. Man, the SB heads are gonna kill me for this. It is what it is though. Like you see a lot more famous people wearing SB Dunks. You see Nike pumping out more SB Dunks. Of course, Travis Scott spearheading that for the SB heads. The last event I went to, NDS, there was more SB Dunks on the table than I saw almost anything. Of course, Jordans being one too, but it was like half SBs, half Jordans. Granted, the owners of that event love SBs, but you get the point. Like SBs now, like SBs are so popular that when I walk by vendors' tables, it's as popular as what NMDs were back then. Like people were reselling NMDs like it was like no tomorrow, like it was going out of style, which it evidently did. It went out of style. Nobody fashionably wears NMDs anymore like that. It's like the tables have turned. Back when NMDs were hot, SB Dunk heads were still SB Dunk heads, but the popularization of SB Dunks was not really hitting the way it was supposed to hit, but now it's hitting again. And you know why? You know why it hits? Because of Travis. It is what it is. People just love what Travis has on, man. I don't know how to explain it any better way. So you get the point. We'll move on to the next one. I'll let the SB kids talk about that in the comments. Next trend. Okay, and for the last trend that we have up to talk about today would be the Avantgarde guys. I don't know enough to talk about Avantgarde as I want to, and I really only know Avantgarde for surface value. Actually, to keep it a buck, I really only know about Avantgarde because of like fashion memes, and I know things about the Geo baskets and whatever, but I don't know enough to talk about it like fully. But what I do know is that it definitely has become more popularized. I'm not saying that it's become big in 2020, but I am saying like the normalization of Avantgarde has been bigger moving into 2020, and there's been a lot of mixture. There's been a lot of people that have been hype beasts, which are quote unquote people that just like to flex, that have kind of like evolved and stopped buying that kind of stuff, like, you know, the Off-White Jordans and stuff, and then they've kind of moved on and started, you know, buying Geo baskets and Rick Owens. I've seen that conversion happening a lot. It seems like Rick Owens is kind of converting a lot of people, and maybe he's been doing that the past 3 or 4 years, becoming a lot more appealing to the streetwear market to wear things in the avant-garde area. Did I explain that right? Man, I tried my best. Okay, I mean, I don't, my surface value definition of avant-garde is literally what I would look up on avant-garde on Google. Like, what is the definition of avant-garde? Like, that's how much I know about it. When I think of avant-garde, I think of people that spend an ungodly amount of money on their outfit, which I can contest to that as well, but also very different. It's like the best words for it, like super different when it comes to like fashion and like crazy grunge, like kind of looking like a medieval character from like Lord of the Rings. I'm not bashing you, I'm just saying that's what I see, and it's very popular now. It's all over, man. It's all over the internet. Avant-garde has also taken over fashion memes, and it is what it is. But I'm sure you understand what I'm saying, or I hope you do. Okay, to summarize everything, I would just want people to know that I tried my best to be as concise and short with all of these trends as much as possible, because there's too much to talk about. I can almost make a video about each topic, but I tried my best to like run through it as quickly as I can with everybody. And also, I just want to make sure that people understand that I'm not getting up on camera and telling you that this is absolute fact. This is just a type of video where I'm kind of calling it the way I see it. So with that said, make sure you guys and girls keep it locked right here for all your latest information from clothing, music to culture. It is your boy, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
You want to do, and it's just gonna take a minute, but it's gonna work out. Like if you try to cut corners and you put fucking costumes on to do shit, yeah, you gonna get straight, but at what cost? You know what I'm saying? And how you feel when you do this shit for you, 100% for you. You could grind and stay up for 5 or 6 days and not really be tired because it's for you.